What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a found footage movie that saw a recommendation for on a video that I made talking about some of my favorite found footage movies. And I've kind of been going through the comment section on that video and picking some of the ones that I feel like look interesting to me. And this is one that has actually been recommended to me multiple times, and I've had on my watch list for at least 5 or 6 years now, or however long this thing's been around, because the plot of it really interested me. I think whenever I make movies surrounding conspiracy theories, I always think that that's a fascinating subject, and I always love kind of exploring those ideas in detail. It's always a lot of fun for me to watch movies surrounding that, and I thought a found footage movie in that format would be incredibly interesting to watch. And the film I'm going to be discussing with you today is The Conspiracy. The Conspiracy is directed by Christopher MacBride. A documentary about conspiracy theories takes a horrific turn after the filmmakers uncover an ancient and dangerous secret society. So, I was really excited to watch this movie. Like I said, I really enjoy movies about conspiracy theories, and I thought doing a found footage film in the same kind of format would be very interesting. And what I will say about this is it's very entertaining. It's definitely not a perfect movie by any means, and I feel like when it comes to subject matter that it's exploring, it doesn't really even begin to kind of scratch the surface of some of the ideas that it's trying to convey. But I think for what it is, it's a lot of fun. I feel like there were great moments of mystery and suspense. I felt like both of the lead actors did a really nice job as well. And I'm looking forward to telling you a little bit about it today. So, in The Conspiracy, we're introduced to these two guys who are making a documentary together. And they're making a documentary about conspiracy theories. And they see this guy on the street who's talking through a megaphone about all of these different conspiracy theories. And so they eventually get a hold of him, and they decide they want to learn a little bit more about why he's so interested in investigating this. And he talks a lot about how the government hides things from you. A ton of things that we know are not actually real. You see lots of footage of like the JFK assassination, of 9/11, of all of these different major historical events. And he believes that the government is working against us to create essentially a new world order. And he's talking about all of these different things that have happened throughout history that build up his point. And he shows them this like website that he goes onto where he talks to other conspiracy theorists and shares his ideas and information, and that he believes that there's like a secret group that is controlling all of these things, that essentially the wheels keep turning because of this organization. Well, very early on in the movie, he disappears, the guy that they're interviewing, and his entire apartment is ransacked and completely destroyed. And the guy who is working on the documentary says, how did this happen? Like, if he's wrong about this stuff, he just looks crazy, but if he's right, this is absolutely insane. And the two of the guys making the documentary together decide we need to continue to keep doing this. And so they hang up a bunch of his newspaper clippings and stuff on their own walls, and they start to investigate, and weird things start to happen. They feel like they're being followed and they're being watched. And the entirety of the film is the deeper that they get into the conspiracy, the more the both of them start to feel that it is actually a reality. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie for a number of reasons. But for starters, I really enjoyed the performances in this movie. I feel like in found footage, I discuss this a lot, but in order for me to enjoy a found footage movie, I really need it to feel realistic. It's very hard for me when the performances are incredibly hammy or over the top. I really need it to feel reserved and like they're real people. And that's what I liked about this, especially the friendship between the two lead characters. I thought that it was very realistic, and I thought they both did an excellent job with the material that they were given. And there's a ton of great performances in this. I feel like even though there's not a ton of like big name actors, they all do a really nice job with the material that they're given. For a found footage movie, I really liked the way that this thing was shot and edited, especially the incorporation of a lot of the historical footage and trying to provide more context into how this man was kind of piecing together his conspiracy theory. And a lot of the historical events that they choose to include really made you as an audience member sort of see where all of these characters are coming from, which I always think is fascinating when it comes to conspiracy theories as a whole. And so I can appreciate that. And there's some truly creepy moments in this. I feel like they did a nice job of establishing these guys constantly looking over their shoulders and being worried, like especially when they eventually interview someone who is familiar with that organization, they constantly feel like they're being watched at that point, like they know too much and that they're going to be taken down because of how much they know, and that if they put any of this information out to the public, that they're probably their lives will be in danger. And that's what I really liked about it. I think the concept of conspiracy theories as a whole, they have a really great conversation about it in this movie where they're like, sure, you can say all this stuff and there's really not any way to disprove it, but there's not any way to prove it either. And there's this whole like relationship with when it comes to the government and people that completely distrust the government or trust the government, and like how much would that powerful of an entity hide from you in order to accomplish their own, misdeeds. And I think that that's a really interesting concept, because I think there's a difference between being skeptical about the information that's being given to you and then just constantly thinking everything that's fed to you is a lie. And then it becomes incredibly dangerous where it will like consume you and sort of send you over the edge. And I think the movie does a really nice job kind of showcasing how diving into conspiracy theories can impact a person's mental well-being and how it will completely and totally consume their life. And it just worked really well for me in that regard. I would say the issues that I have with this movie, the pacing isn't always great for an hour and a half. There were a lot of moments where I felt like we were just sort of revisiting the same things over and over again. And so some of the film felt a little bit tedious, but normally they would add something in that I feel like would just draw my attention right away. As I said at the beginning of the film, I feel like they only sort of scratched the surface with these ideas. Like you could have really dived in even to like one subset of this whole entire, conspiracy thing and really made it resonate in a way that I think would hit very hard. Like the end of the movie wraps up kind of how you assumed that it would. I feel like the third act is a little underwhelming. There's some really great suspense and some moments that I was really on the edge of my seat, like what's going to happen next? What's going to happen to these characters? But by the end of the movie, I was like, okay, if you're going to make a movie about this subject matter, that's about how I figured you would end it. And so it just kind of ended. And I was like, well, I enjoyed the experience, but I expected to have a lot more to hold on to once it was over, which disappointed me a little bit. But I still think, like I've said it a million times, the found footage format exists for people that don't have a ton of money to do what big budget Hollywood movies can. And it's a way that you can convey information to an audience that it can be effective if you do it the right way. And I think for the most part, these filmmakers did it the right way. I really enjoyed the overall runtime and experience. I thought it was a very fun movie, and I would actually watch it again. I think it's definitely worth checking out at least once. So have you seen The Conspiracy? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was incredibly entertaining. I really enjoyed myself, and I would probably watch it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.